Hey, what's up? Congratulations on your latest investment. This year video is going to help you with the steps of how to assemble Mr. Professional booth. And then we're going to go through all of these little parts together. We're going to assemble them together in this video step by step. So throughout the entire process, you will never feel alone or confused. So let's go ahead and dive into it right now. Yo, congratulations, Mr. Professional is on its way. So I want you guys to check this video out so you can see the simplicity of assembling Mr. Professional. That's right. In this video, I'm going to take you guys step by step on how to assemble Mr. Professional. And I'm not going to leave out any details so that you guys don't feel confused at all during this video, meaning I'm going to go over the camera, the dummy battery, the flash head, every single thing so that when you're done watching this little mini course and video, you guys will be super confident and you guys will be able to train your future photo booth attendants on how to set up Mr. Professional. Congratulations on your purchase. I'll go ahead and get started on the video right now. So you guys, when you receive your flight case, it's going to have Mr. Professional inside of the flight case. What I want you guys to do is you guys will get a couple of goodies in here. And what I want you to do is I want you to pull out the head unit and rest it on your carpet or one of the foams. That's the first thing that's going to come out. Now, you guys are going to notice there's a few things in here that are really going to help life be easier when it comes to setting up your booth. You guys are going to get a screwdriver like this right here. And then in the bag, you guys are going to get a few goodies, okay? But the ones that we're going to focus on right now are just three primary parts. One is going to be the rod. This is basically the baby pin for your camera. This is going to sit on top of the head. Your screwdriver, the keys, okay? So you got to get the keys to the Bentley. You have them right here. And then these knobs. So what is that? A total of 4 pieces, okay? Now, right in here, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in with the camera, you are going to have a total of 2 pillars. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is go ahead and pull out the pillars, okay? One has a more narrow end like this, with the opposite pillar having a wider one like this, okay? See that? Now, what I want you guys to do is do this. There's a base right in here. This is going to be your base. So what you want to do is you want to take your pillar with the wider base, which is this one right here. You see how it's nice and wide? We're going to line it up with this square right in here like this. Check this out. Just like that. Now, these parts right here, we're going to go ahead and fasten them using our screwdriver that comes included. And so all we have to do is just spin. And I also want you guys to note that this doesn't have to be extremely tight. So as soon as you feel a little bit of tension, it already means that it's latched on and is good to go. And the next thing we want to do is we want to grab the secondary pillar right here with the more narrow end and line it up right in here like this. Just like this. After that, what I want to do is I want to take this exact same tool and I want to tighten the top. Let's go ahead and do that together. I'm going to go ahead and just tighten this really quick. And do this one too. The next thing I want to do, guys, is I want to open up the back of the head unit and I want to show you guys exactly how I do it to save you guys a ton of time. So check this out. Now for your head unit, what you guys want to do is you guys want to grab your keys and always use these foams to your advantage. I know that some of us sometimes are going to end up doing events outdoors and we're either going to be out in the grass or maybe on asphalt or concrete. So go ahead and use these foams to your advantage so you keep Mr. Professional looking super duper clean, all right? So with the keys, you can go ahead and open it like this, just like that, right? Once it's unlocked. If you guys opt in for the opening right here, all you have to do is just pull this out like this, all right? Right in here, as you guys can see, we're going to have your strip right here. And so this makes life so much easier. But the next step I want to do while I have it here on the ground is I want to grab this flash rod right here and I want to connect it to the top. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to loosen this up right here. I'm going to go ahead and insert it so that it pops out to the top right there. And now I can screw this in like this. This is going to be your flash holder, okay? So what you want to do is you want to tighten it tight enough so that it stays in place. The next step we're going to do together, guys, is we're going to place the head on top of the actual base right over here. So let's go ahead and move on to this next step. What I'm going to do is, this is so light, I can just grab it. Check this out. Grab it like this and put it right in front. That's how light it is, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the head unit, and then I'm going to line it up, and I'll go ahead and move this up a little bit so you guys get a really good visual of my face. I'm kidding. So I'm going to place the head right in here. I'm going to line it up. Check this out. This is how I do it. Just lift it up like this, and then just line it up, and it goes in just like that. That cool, that simple. Next step, guys, is this. The next step is we're going to take these two holes right here, and we're going to fill them up with these two pieces. All right, so let's go ahead and twist them here. Now, one thing I want you guys to note, this works best if you tighten one a little bit, not super tight, and then get the other one going. Reason why is you want to balance out how tight these are. So this is just the best practice. And then I'm going to show you guys how I run this cable too as well. Super easy now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in there. And then it grabs on. Now I can start tying them both pretty good. So at this moment right here, they're both set to go. And what I want to do next is I want to feed the cable right to this opening right here. And I'm going to do that right now so that you guys can do exactly what I do at every event. And once again, train your photo booth attendants to do exactly this to make their setup process a lot easier. So, of course, you take the opposite end and you feed it right down here. And so this is going to go down, all the way down. Sometimes we get on the very first try. So now that it's all the way at the bottom, I'm going to pan this out a little bit. So I'll show you what I do next. All right, guys? So it's already moved all the way down internally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this to the side and then pull so that I can get the cable to come out. And this is how it's going to look like. So move it to the side a little bit, and then I'm going to pull on the cable. And now I have the cable right here. So what I like doing from this point is if I'm going to be using a portable battery, for example, an anchor like this, I can just pull this out, maybe, I want to say, maybe like a foot, right? And then just connect it right in here. Turn this on, and now I have power. Now, if you guys are going to be doing an event that's a lot longer than this, what I would recommend is running an extension cord from whatever wall outlet power source you're going to be using, and then gaffer's tape, and have it connected to Mr. Professional with this barely peeking out so your setup looks amazing and really, really clean. All right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tuck these cables in just like this. And I took my time on showing you guys how to do this breakdown, but this should take you guys less than 3 minutes. All right? Trust me, it should take you less than 3 minutes, especially when you do it for the second, third time. Okay, that step is complete. Super easy, as you can see. I hope all these tips that I shared with you are going to help you with your production and overall setup. Now, for this next step, we're going to take some of the moving parts and start adding them to the unit head. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take your iPad, also, well, my iPad, and we're going to put it inside of the faceplate and then connect the faceplate to Mr. Professional's unit head. Keep in mind, guys, that once the faceplate is on the booth, I leave the faceplate on there with the iPad. I don't disassemble it and take it back out. I leave it on there. Saves me a ton of time, and that's another thing that's really convenient about Mr. Professional. So let me go ahead and dive into that right now with you, and we'll do everything together step by step. Let's do this. All right, cool. Second step, we're going to go ahead and install the faceplate. We're going to grab the iPad that you are using. We're going to use a couple of the screws, but it's going to be really easy. So let me show you exactly what parts we're going to be putting together next. This brace is going to be holding your iPad. This is going to be the actual faceplate. And these are the little guys that are going to be screwed down at the very end right here. And these butterflies are going to hold your iPad and your back plate together with this part right here. So we're going to do this part here together. And one thing, guys, as you guys either are looking for a booth or thinking about how versatile is this going to be? Here's one thing that I really want to point out. Now, when it comes to Mr. Professional, one of the greatest things is that you guys can order an extra faceplate in the future if you ever upgrade your iPad, which means you're not stuck with just one style of iPad. Keep in mind that if you guys go from a 10.9 iPad and want to go to a 13-inch iPad, then all you need is another faceplate. You don't need to buy an entire new booth, which is something that I really think stands out when it comes to owning a DSLR photo booth, okay? So let's go ahead and get this iPad right in here. You want to go ahead and set it up like this. All right, so it's going to be in here like this. As you guys know, the back is going to look like this. So if this is what you're working with, you guys are still with me. All right, sweet. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this around right here. What we want to do is we want to align this to the back to make sure that we're going to screw this on properly. So it'll look something like this. Cool. I'm going to set it down here, and then we're going to go ahead and use these butterfly screws to tie in the iPad right here. I know this is really easy for some of you guys, but sometimes, you know, there's folks that are barely jumping into the photo booth business, and, you know, this video means a lot to them, and it means a lot to me because I've been a beginner before, you know, so I've been in business at this, the making of this video for close to 3 years, and there's a lot of things that you pick up within the first few events, right? And so no event's ever going to be the same. And so I hope that everything that I do here on the YouTube channel helps you guys one way or another. And it's that simple, really. You know, it's already on. It's screwed on. It's good to go, right? But I'm not going to go ahead and install it yet because now, for this next step, I'm going to show you guys how to connect the internals. Okay. So what I want you guys to do next is reach for your axis. That's basically like this right here, this part, and also a USB Type-C to Type-C. So what we want to do is this. Just follow my lead. You won't feel lost at all. This is what we're going to do right here. We're going to take the Type-C to Type-C cable, and we're going to connect it in the Type-C port right here. And then we're going to feed the opposite end right in this hole. Like that. That's the first thing we want to do. Now that this step is complete, I'm just going to break this down what this actually means. So this Type-C is connected to the head unit, and the head unit has power, which means that the head unit is going to provide power to this Type-C to power on this axis, and at the same time, keep the iPad within charge the entire time of the event. So that's the beauty behind it. Let's go ahead and grab that faceplate we put together earlier and install it together. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. All right, so here's the faceplate we put together earlier, and we're going to go ahead and put it right in here. But before we do that, I want you guys to take your axis, and I want you to feed this cable, this long cable, through this hole to the opposite end. All right, so just go around the booth, and then just feed it in just like this. All right, because we're going to take this cable and connect it to the bottom of the iPad right in here. So let's go ahead and connect it to the bottom of the iPad. I'll move to this side here. And connect it to the iPad. You hear it click. There you go. And we put this right in here. And then we're going to fasten it. By the way, guys, congratulations on your latest investment. I completely have fallen in love with this design, and I'm always looking for ways to make it more versatile, to make it more user-friendly, to make it a better overall investment so that it complements your photo booth business plus your business goals. And on top of that, wows all of your clients, whether you're dealing with event coordinators, wedding planners, decision makers that are going to book your services, okay? So as you guys can see now, we are moving quickly. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, all right? So the next thing is what I want to do for you guys is I want to show you how to mount the mount inside. Let's do that. Now, before we install the mounts, I want to show you guys that upon delivery, you guys are going to notice that you guys have two mounts. And this is a beautiful thing because you're able to shoot in landscape mode by installing this mount, and your camera is going to sit right over here, right? And you can also install the portrait mode. Now, you're probably thinking, which one should I do first? It just depends on what kind of production you want to offer your client. So this one would sit like this, and your camera would be in portrait mode like that. I'm going to show you guys how that looks in the inside. So let's move on to that step. And this is another thing, another feature that really stands out when it comes to Mr. Professional. This is what I mean, how it's a pretty versatile booth, and you'll fall in love with it within the first few events, believe me. Let's go ahead and do that right now together. Okay, guys, so say, for example, you're going to be shooting a production, and that production happens to be in portrait mode. So this is how you would want to do it. You would want to take your plate like this. This is the portrait mode one. You guys will notice that there's going to be two of these lines right here. Now, we had these designed specifically because we can actually start here or here. I like using this top one because it gives us more of an angle to go up and down, and you'll see what I mean in a few moments. So once you guys are here at this level, what you can do next is this. You can put a butterfly screw. Let me get a butterfly screw here. And start tightening. The butterfly screw is going to go here. And then I'll do the second butterfly screw, and then we'll align it while it's nice and it's loose still. We don't want to tighten it just yet until we get our camera. Okay, so this would be the example if I was shooting in portrait mode. And then I would tighten these butterflies right here, right? And now I can install the camera like this. So we're not going to jump into the camera installation just yet, because there's some of you guys that want to shoot in landscape mode. So I'm going to show you guys how to set this up in landscape mode. But ideally, with the camera would go connected like this right here. You take this and connect it to the camera like this. And once it's nice and tight, so it'll sit like this. Let me go ahead and lift this up like that. That's in portrait mode. And you can adjust it too accordingly, up or down. So easy to move. All right, so that's portrait mode. I'm going to go ahead and remove the camera for now. And I'm going to show you guys how to install the landscape one. It's really simple. Once again, I'm going over these steps because there might be someone who has become a brand new owner of a photo booth, and I want to make sure that these videos are very helpful, okay? So let's go ahead and a little bit like this. So now I'm going to remove this portrait style, and we're installing now the landscape style. All right, so what I want to do is I want to grab the landscape style, and I want to hook it right on there like this, and take at least one butterfly screw to hold it in place for me, and tie it in just like that. Here, let me give you guys so I tie in one butterfly screw here and another one right here. Also, guys, it's a total of 4 butterfly screws, okay? So there's going to be a butterfly screw here at the bottom too, so 2 and 2. And then your camera ring, this little bad boy, will go in here. Now you can put your camera in here. On the side, guys, right here, there's going to be these knobs. Now, these knobs on the side, you'll be able to tighten once you find the perfect angle. Now, once they're nice and tight, and you have, for example, people that are not within frame because it's probably a super tall individual, what you can do is you can just open a door, simply just open a door, and just move it slightly up like that. It takes a second, boom, it's done. Okay, so a lot of folks don't know that if you have a shorter, like, for example, a child, and they're not within frame because it's shooting in landscape mode, all you got to do is pop it up like that and then close the door. So this is something that's extremely convenient. So congratulations, guys. We've now mastered on how to use either or when it comes to the mounts, whether you want to shoot in portrait mode or landscape mode. If you're wondering, David, what do you shoot with in mostly? So far, landscape, but we're definitely doing a lot more portrait now this year because a lot of folks love the portrait on how most of their body comes out and on the booth, on the photo, and so they love showing off their outfit. I don't blame them. Some of these events are high-end and people are dressed to impress. All right, that pretty much sums it up. You guys have a great day. Just kidding. All right, so we know how to do the mounts. Scratch that off the list. We got our faceplate iPad installed, off the list. Now we have our axes in the back communicating with the iPad. I'm going to show you guys now how to start working on the internals. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and turn this booth around so we get plenty of lighting for this next step. And let's go ahead and do that. And so I'm going to zoom in so that I can show you how we're going to start bringing everything together. So on the axis, there's going to be one Type-C that says USB PD. PD stands for power distribution. So what I want to do is I want to grab that smaller one that we connected to the head, and I want to connect it to the power distribution side so that now this axis can produce power and keep my iPad charged. And I'm going to show you how that looks as soon as I connect power to Mr. Professional, okay? So once you have these two connected, good job, we're almost there. The next thing that I want to do is I want to grab my camera and the dummy battery and start doing the rest of the work here. We're almost there. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. Now, before we move on to the next step, I really want to dive into the details of the camera so that you guys not only know how to assemble it and put it together, but also understand how you guys can get a better shot. So let's go and start with the basics. If you guys are using a Canon R100 or any camera that already has a hot shoe, then this next setup is for you. At one point, I had an existing Canon R50, did not have a hot shoe mount, so I had to get an adapter for it. Not an ideal camera because now you have more parts you got to put together. But can you use the Canon R50 with Mr. Professional? The answer is heck yes. I did it for a while, and then I actually sold my Canon R50 and I replaced it with another Canon R100 because a Canon R100 is super ideal for almost any type of photo booth. It's small, compact, and it has 24 megapixels. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to reach for the camera and a couple of other parts, and we're going to work on this together step by step. So one of the first things that you guys notice on the internal parts list, it says dummy battery. The dummy battery, this one right here, is specifically for the Canon R100, okay? You can get this on Amazon. And this is exactly what you're going to get, something like this. Okay. We're going to go ahead and grab our camera. We're going to place this battery inside, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. So this is our Canon R100. Some of you guys made the purchase and got the lens kit, which is great. For me, what I love using is a 24 to 50. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in. Yep. I like using a 24 to 50 because it just takes super nice photos, okay? And I leave the stabilizer on and with the control on autofocus. Now, I want you guys to open up your camera and slide in the dummy battery. This is probably brand new to a lot of you guys. And trust me, I thought like, wait, how do you even close it? You guys will see in a few seconds. So I'm going to take the dummy battery and I'm going to feed it like this. And my SD card is already inside. If you guys haven't done so, go ahead and place your SD card inside of the camera. Now look, there's an opening right here for the cable. So I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to close this like this, and boom. All right. So now it's the dummy battery is inside. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that this opposite end goes connected to a power source so that the camera has power the entire time. This is going to come with your dummy battery. And so the only thing that I did is I added this elbow right here. I added this elbow and I connected it to this like this. That way the cable doesn't bend so much. So when I connect it to the dummy battery cable, it's like this now. Sweet. So let's do this, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. We have our camera connected to the dummy battery and the dummy battery connected to an outlet that pretty soon we're going to connect right on here. But before we do that, let's take this step by step, okay? So that's the dummy battery. The next thing I want you guys to do is I want you guys to take your data cable. It has to be a data cable. And this is a really great data cable, by the way, that I'm using. Is I'm going to go ahead and grab this cable and then connect it to the Type-C section right here on my camera. And you guys will see in a few seconds, it goes right in here. Okay, that's a Type-C. All right, and the opposite end is going to go connected to the axis. So we're going to take this opposite end and we're going to connect it to the axis in a few seconds, okay? So now we have the cable, data cable, and we have the dummy battery connected to the camera. There's a few more things that we want to connect to the camera, and I'm going to break that down for you guys. Now, if you guys notice, in the internal list, I went ahead and showed you guys, I got this Godox trigger with these pieces right here. And this is extremely helpful, and I'm going to show you why. So it's so easy for the camera now to communicate with the flash, which I'm going to show you guys how to set up in a few seconds. The cool part is that you can take this trigger and put it on your camera hot shoe with a sync cable like this, look. So this setup right here, and you guys will see it in the description, this Godox setup, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and place it right in the hot shoe like this. Go ahead. Yep, this. Bring it in. And then make sure it's tight. So now it sits inside, just like that. We're going to take one of those little cables. It's also called the sync cable. And we're going to connect it to the trigger right here. That way it's hot wired. We can do this wirelessly too, but I like it having connected it directly to the wire. And then what I'll do is I'll take this wire and then I'll connect it to the actual flash head. So the camera communicates directly to the flash head just like this. This is one way of setting it up. If you guys don't want to set it up this way, then what you can do is you could take one of the pieces it came with, right? This is a receiver. And what you can do is make sure that the receiver is on the same channel as the trigger. So the channel is right here. As you guys can see, like these knobs, they come with these little, I guess you would call them channels. And however you do the combination, you want to make sure that the combination is also the same combination on this trigger flash right here on this opposite end. You guys can see right here in the back. When it comes in the package, all of them are synchronized together, so you don't have to mess with any of the settings. But you definitely want the settings to be the same when it comes to these channels. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're all down, that means that on this trigger right here, you guys can see that. So you got to make sure that those channels are matching your receiver. I like keeping it pretty simple. So what I'll do is I'll insert this, make sure it's nice and tight. You guys can see it has power. The next thing we want to do is now we can actually mount the camera on here. And I definitely want to do this step here with you guys because remember that we have to connect the data cable to the axis and also connect the dummy battery to one of these outlets. Let me go ahead and do that for you guys right now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that cable earlier because this is the setup that I prefer to do. I'm going to connect it to the top of the trigger like this. Right now, my camera is set to manual mode. I shoot in manual mode. I'm going to leave it on manual mode. And then, what else? I keep it at 24 as far as the millimeter on the camera goes. So I'm going to mount the camera right in here, and then I'm going to fasten it. The first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys how to do that exactly. Let's see if I can actually zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. All right. This is amazing. Let's go ahead and move on to this next step. So this right here, remember guys, you can drop it a little bit like this. And then the camera, you can just bring it in like this, slowly. And then pop this up again. I want to make sure that the camera holds on to this part right here. Once it holds on, just make sure you guys are not pinching anything. Right there. Okay. So the camera is now, as you guys can see, mounted. That was super easy. Next thing I want to do is for the dummy battery, I can put the extra slack in between like this. This extra slack right in there. And then I can actually turn this on. Choose whichever one I want. Boom. That's going to go in there. Right now, there's still no power going to Mr.Professional. We're going to do that together in a few moments. Now, as far as the data cable goes, that's on the camera. I'm going to make sure that it's actually making contact and it's all the way inside. I'm going to take the opposite end of that data cable and I'm going to connect it to the axis, okay? And the axis has another USB, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys get a good visual. By the way, if you guys are fast learners and I'm going really slow for you, my apologies. You guys can probably fast forward or turn up the play speed since you guys are watching this on YouTube. So the Type-C is going to be right in there. So we're going to connect it to the USB data Type-C, and it'll go in there just like that. Okay. So now the Acusis is connected to the iPad, is connected to power, and it's connected to the camera. So what I want to do next is, let's do this. Let's go ahead and move to the next step. The next step is this. So when it comes to the flash head, you guys are going to have options. You guys can go with like a white umbrella, which I feel everyone should have because the white umbrella really complements the booth. Or you guys can go with the traditional black umbrella with the reflector like this, which also looks pretty sleek. But for this video, we're going to go ahead and stick with the white umbrella. Now, if you guys got the Godox, which I highly recommend because it's only 140 bucks, and this right here will take your production to a whole different level. The Godox just looks like this. And when you pull it out of the bag, it has a protector. I don't have the protector on right now because I was getting ready for this breakdown for you guys. But you always want to keep the protector. And so I don't put it's like a funneler to have more light. I like leaving like this because I like my light to be dispersed widely so that the photos don't come out too harsh when it comes to that. So the next step you guys want to do is you want to take your umbrella and put it in through here and make sure there's enough space. We're going to do that in a few seconds. But the next thing we want to do is I want to explain the functionalities here in the back. And then in a few moments when we actually have it all hooked up, I'm going to show you guys some examples on how to turn up the power and how to lower the power. Right here, we're going to put a power cord. Real quick note, when you guys buy this, it comes with a really durable, long, girthy cable. And so I thought it was too big and it had too much going on. So I went on Amazon and I bought a 3-foot computer cable. That way, it's enough space. And also, it's like I said, guys, it's about having those nice, simple setups. And so we're going to connect this in here like this. The cable that's connected to the Canon camera trigger, it's going to go right in here. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to mount this right up there, but I want to add the umbrella too while I'm down here. So go ahead and bring it in like this. Make sure there's enough or else it won't go in. Okay, so it's going in now. Right here is good. I'm going to tighten this a little bit. And then I'm going to come right over to the flash rod right over here, up here. And I'm going to mount the light, but I'm going to have it facing this way. Okay, once it's on, I'm going to go ahead and tighten it just a bit. Not super tight, because if I need to like move it to the left or to the right, I want that to be possible. So right there's fine. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to take the cable. There's going to be a hole right at the top right here. I'm going to feed that cable through the hole to the top. I'm going to bring it down. Okay. This is one of the few cables that's going to be pulling power. So we'll go ahead and connect this cable to a power right here. Go ahead and I'll use this. I want to use this one. Yeah, I'll use this one. And for this one, I'll use this one. Okay, cool. So now you have your cable connected to the power source, right? That's great. I think we're almost ready to shoot. So with that being said, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab this anchor right here. This is, by the way, this is probably one of the best investments I've made, even for my 360 booth. This little thing is a powerhouse. So this will keep your booth going for like 3 hours. And even though you'll have your fan turned on, which I'll show you in a few seconds, and it's running light, if you keep your modeling lamp around 15%, you can have this going for about 3 hours, which is amazing. So just like earlier, guys, I'm going to go ahead and connect this to Mr.Professional so that we can get some power, because there's other things that I want to show off that you guys are probably going to love. So let me go ahead and turn this on. So I turned on the battery. Next thing I'm going to do is right here, the switch on the power strip. Right here, all systems go. Boom. And you'll know that this turns on because this light will turn red. Okay? And so now the camera, if I turn it on like this, there you go. Camera's turned on. This right here is green because it's getting power. And then you guys heard the iPad acknowledge the power 2 as well. So now we're getting power to the entire thing. If you guys are in a hot area, you guys want to turn this on. This is going to be your fan. So Mr. Professional comes with a fan that's going to keep the internals cool, right? Now, say for example, the fan is running, and because it's a powerful fan and it's really quiet, you can hear your fan and there's someone speaking. What you can do is, because the booth is not being used, you can turn off your fan, turn off the booth, save some battery, so there's no more distractions going on, if that's like you're on idle time. So I'll go ahead and turn on the fan. The fan's turned on right now. By the way, the fan's located right down here, and I could feel it pump air to the inside. Now what I can do is I can actually close the door because I don't feel like we need to come back to this area just yet. Maybe for the camera in a little bit, but I want to show you guys the front here. Let's go ahead and do that for now. By the way, one cool thing about Mr. Professional's LED light is, even though it doesn't sync up with a lot of softwares because of the brightness levels it can get to, it has a specific module. One thing that's really nice is if I leave it on this type of white and leave it at this temperature and this level of brightness, when I turn it on and off, it's always going to remain at this level, which is amazing because it has memory, which is really good. And for me, when my photo booth attendants are out and about doing events, I tell them to just leave it as is, because if you guys change it, and I'll show you guys what I mean, check this out. So you guys have the power to control this LED light with your phone. There's an application. I'll share it with you guys. That way you guys can go onto your phone and switch it however you guys want. Now, I don't like doing the colors. I don't like doing the rainbow and everything, because it takes away from the aesthetics of this being a premium booth. You don't want the whole LED thing you see in downtown LA or wherever you guys go and you see a flea market with Bluetooth speakers with all kinds of LED lighting going on. That's not what we're going for. We're going for a premium prestige look just like this. So you guys can change the brightness on this right now. My brightness is set really low right now, and it still gives the booth a beautiful appeal. So I'll stand next to it. Let me see. It's coming alive. So the light is adjusting, right? So just know that you guys can, like I said, this has memory, and you guys can adjust this with your phone. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the iPad and move on to some more fun steps. All right, let's go. Okay, so this knob right here, if you turn it up to the right, then these numbers are going to get smaller. So the smaller the number, the brighter it's going to be. If you guys go down, it'll go all the way to 32. So 32 being the lowest, the flash won't have that much power. This is something different when I first started getting into like the photography world, is I thought the smaller the number, the weaker the flash. It's the complete opposite. Now, you guys remember earlier when we had that trigger inside of Mr. Professional that's mounted on the actual camera? Well, we can test to make sure it's communicating, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Watch, check this out. So there's a little button on top of the trigger, and so that little button, if I press that little button, the flash should go off, and this is basically testing to making sure that it's going to fire. And right now, it's not firing. Why is it not firing, yo? Well, because earlier, when we ran this cable, we didn't run it to the top and connect it to the flash head. So if you guys are still paying attention, you guys will get 100 points if you got this right, okay? So now we're going to bring this up. And remember, connect it to the flash head where it says sync. Boom. Now we'll go ahead and press that button again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. See that? Cool. So that's working. The camera's communicating. Everything is looking really good. I know this video should have taken like 3 minutes, but if I would have done that, I would have lost you guys. Because like I said, there's people that are watching this for the very first time in their lives and have almost no idea of how to do this, how to accomplish this. One thing I want you guys to notice is that on the iPad, you can see it's green. It's at 100% right now. And that means it's actually charging, which is exactly what we want. All right, guys, congratulations. This is good, all right? We've covered the assembly of not just the shell, but actually the internals of what's going to get the production going, including the flash head, the umbrella, the camera, the dummy battery, and the data sync cables along with the iPad. We did that all together so you guys can share this video with your future photo booth attendants or your current employees for your photo booth business. Before we wrap it up, what I'm thinking of doing right now, because I think this is important, is, well, David, wait, we set it up. What about takedown? You know what? This video wouldn't be complete if I don't show you guys the takedown process. So I will take my time to break this down for you guys and show you exactly how I break it down, and not just that, but what I keep inside of the booth, okay? So let me go ahead and do that. First thing I want to do is I want to turn off my camera. The next thing I want to do is I want to turn off my flash head. Also want to turn off the fan. I'm not using the fan. And nothing else is getting power anymore besides the iPad that's being charged right now, right? So what I can do now is I can hit this button right here, and there's no more power going to anything. So the first thing that I do, and I'm acting as if I'm training my photo booth attendant for the very first time because I want to set them up for success, is this. I tell them, let's start from the top and then work our way to the bottom. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the cable from the flash head and the scene cable as well. And I'm going to loosen this up right here. And we're left with this again, right? So what do? We loosen this just like this. We pull this out. We close it. Okay. So now we want to put the protector cap that goes on here. I don't see, oh, there it is. The protector cap looks like this. All right. That way your bulb doesn't get messed up. Oh, guys, really quick. Always order an additional bulb. Take an extra bulb with you for every event. You always want to have backup, guys. This is so important. Always have backup, whether it's charging batteries, cables, in this sense, a bulb, maybe even an extra camera. Just, you never know, right? So that's the first thing that gets put to the side. We're gonna get this flash rod. I'm showing you guys how to put this away so that you guys don't scratch anything or lose anything, okay? So you guys are gonna see that I'm gonna place this flash rod, put it to the side for now. Next thing right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this cable down, and I'm also gonna pull the little sync cord. I'm gonna pull that down and tuck it inside. All right. Now I'm gonna leave my camera inside. What'd you say, Dave? Yeah, I leave my camera inside along with my iPad upon transportation. It saves me a ton of time. This is another thing that I love about Mr. Professional is I can actually leave my camera inside. Now, right here, everything that's connected remains connected. That's right. You guys are probably never going to have to see this video again. But the next thing that I want to do is I want to disconnect the cable from the anchor, and I want to pull the cable up. All right. So what I'll do is I'll tilt Mr. Professional this way and pull the cable up. So grab the cable, and now I'm going to start pulling the cable up. So I'm pulling it out. Okay. So the cable is not out. And everything I move to the side. See this? Just how everything, all the cables are now moved to the side. Let me go ahead and show you guys a quick look here. So what I'm about to do next is I'm going to take those two knobs from earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and twist them off and pull them out. Okay, guys? So I'm going to take these knobs, take both of them out at the same time. Here's knob number 1 and knob number 2. Okay. I'm going to set these next to the camera rod, aka the baby pin. Now what I can do now is actually I can close this like this, and I'm going to put it down and put it on a foam. Remember, guys, let's rest this on the foam. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out like this, and I'm going to rest it on the foam. So let me show you guys exactly how to put back everything in place. Also going to show you guys a little hack. I think you guys are going to love this part right here. And this only came from experience. I thought, well, this is a pretty good idea when I use this all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly how I put everything there. But before I do that, what I'm going to be doing over here, guys, is here. Let me just start off over here. Remember how we're going to go ahead and loosen up these right here. Okay, there's one. I'm going to rest it on the phone. And then two. I'm also going to rest it on the phone. First thing that goes in, guys, is what? The base. Yup, you guys are absolutely right. We're going to take the foam, we're going to put it over the base. Like that. We're going to cover the base. We don't want parts rubbing against one another in transportation because we don't want to scratch this beautiful booth, right? And so the next thing you guys want to do is you guys want to grab this divider and put it in the middle, and then take the flat part of your pillar and have it facing down like this. Now, here's what I wanted to show you. This is my little hack, guys. Look at what I've been doing is for my umbrella, what I'll do is I'll take one of my pillars here and I'll put the umbrella into the pillar like this and then put the pillar inside like that. That was my hack, okay? Now, earlier I told you guys to keep all the parts together, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to grab the bag, and inside of this bag, we're going to place the keys, the baby pin, and then those two primary screws that hold the head in place. And then we're going to put it right next to these pillars. How does that look like? It's like that. Okay, let's go ahead and put another layer on here to cover the pillars so that the head doesn't scratch up the pillars, right? And the next thing you guys want to do is very easily just grab the head like this. You can grab it from right here and then place it right in here like this. Okay, you have your camera in there, secured your iPad, then place this on the top like that. And then close your flight case. And then you guys are ready for your very next event. Whether it's coming up the very next day or a few days from now, you guys will be set with your flight case and you guys are good to go. Now, I want to thank you for your patience because I know that this video, I really took my time. As you guys can kind of tell, right? I adore the process because I'm always putting myself in your position and assuming that you guys are brand new. And so I wanted to break this down as simple but as detailed as possible so that you guys feel confident about your next move, about your next event. So thank you so much. Congratulations on your latest investment. Mr. Professional will not disappoint. This backdrop behind me is called a vintage gray. I'm going to be putting together some videos on how you guys can get the most beautiful photos when using Mr. Professional with some of the gear that we covered here together today. If you guys have any questions, as always, you guys can book a free 15-minute consultation call using the link below. If you guys already own Mr. Professional, you guys continue rocking it out. I hope I get your testimony soon. I'll see you guys in the next videos, all right? Take care.